Hi, I am Allie Balitz. I am the interviewer. I am here with Austin Rem, who is the narrator. It is April 12th, 2018. We met in Austin's apartment in Hastings, Nebraska. So, my first question for you, Austin, is what is your full name?
Austin Howard Rem.
Were you named after anyone, and if so, who?
I was named after my dad's dad, who was Howard.
So, just your middle name?
Yes.
Not the first?
No.
Okay. When and where were you born?
I was born December 28th, 1992, in the Grand Island Hospital, but lived in Aurora.
Good. What are your parents' names? And please provide your mother's maiden name.
My parents' name is, dad's name is Michael Todd Rem. And my mom's name is Robin Lynn Felker.
How many siblings do you have?
3.
And what are their names?
Kristen, Nathan, and Jason.
And where do you rank in the sibling line?
I am the oldest.
What are your parents' careers?
My dad is an accountant or a controller, and my mom is a social worker.
And she recently just got the job, is that correct?
Yes.
What is your job slash
Uh,
career?
I am a videographer, photographer, content specialist, marketer at Provident Promotions.
So, how did you and your family come to live or reside in Nebraska?
Mm, both sides of my family have always lived in Nebraska. Mom's side in McCook, and my dad's side in Columbus.
What significance does Nebraska hold within your family? Are there any traditions or cultural values you guys gather?
No. Nope, it's pretty straightforward. It's just the good life.
Okay. So, can you please describe your experience growing up in the 90s? And you said it started off in Aurora.
Yeah. Enjoyed the small town. Enjoyed the slower pace. And it was pretty fun. I was homeschooled up until 6th grade, which I thought was a good thing
Why is that?
because, well, for one, because I think I probably ended up getting a better education being privately taught for that age. I was advanced in some areas when I started going to public school. And also, it allowed me to become very strong in who I was and who I knew I was, which I thought was an upside because I was always around my family.
Um, okay. So, we might get into questions later about this, but you said that being homeschooled made you more of who you are and made you stronger in who you are. So, can you elaborate on that? How do you think you are?
My mom instilled in me a lot of beliefs and values and moral standards, and that was part of the curriculum that she taught, along with your standard math, reading, English, whatever. And it was a part of my everyday life from the time I woke up to the time I went to bed. And so I didn't really have to put up with the crappier stuff at, maybe a public school has. There weren't very many questions I had growing up. I knew who I was and what I believed in.
What events happened during your time in Nebraska that shaped your view of the state?
Um, I can't really think of any.
Okay. Maybe we can think of something later as we go. Please describe some experiences you have had that you feel are unique to Nebraska. What memories come to mind whenever you think back on your childhood?
I like the people in Nebraska. So like the one finger wave down the road whenever you pass someone, I think that's fairly unique to this area of the country. The people are nice, people are good, and also the people are very down to earth. There isn't a whole lot of um, there isn't a whole lot of fluffy talk, really. It's
Can you
all
tell me what fluffy talk means?
well, I guess just nonsense. It's all pretty straightforward. People just are down to earth. You know, I've traveled to other places in the United States, like the D.C. and New York and Pennsylvania, and it seems like people are concerned about different things up there that don't necessarily um, I don't know how to put this. Don't seem as important to me as some of the um, things that Midwestern people tend to think about.
Can you provide like one example? You can take a minute to think.
Um, hmm. Well, okay, so for like in Nebraska, I know this isn't unique to Nebraska, but I feel like job searching. It's very straightforward. It's a given here where you just work to live and you enjoy work. Um, I don't know if that's exactly the same in other places around the country. I think some places, like on the coast, I think are a little bit more. The job, the work, providing for yourself, being independent is not as high on the priority list.
Okay.
And I
Thank you.
respect that it's being independent and providing for yourself is so high on the priority list with people in the Midwest. We like to be self efficient.
Okay. Thank you. So you've kind of already answered this question, but I will ask it again just in case you want to add something else. Please describe some of your favorite aspects of Nebraska and or your favorite aspects of living in Nebraska. And then to counter that, what's your least favorite?
Favorite, like I said, would be the people. I think people here are smart. They think very common sense. They got a good head on their shoulders. Again, there isn't fluffy stuff to think about because we don't have a whole lot of stuff to think about. It's straightforward where you live, where you work, and what do you do for fun. As far as least favorite, I would say it takes a while to travel to to the to the coast or really anywhere. When you get into the Midwest and that area, the states are so large that to get out, the longest part of your travel or your trip is going to be getting out of Nebraska because once you hit Ohio or whatever, if you're going to the East Coast, you can fly through a state in an hour or two. Whereas it's to get from central Nebraska to Missouri or whatever, it's going to take 3 hours.
Yeah.
Um, but then again, that's also a good thing because I don't want to be that close to that many people, and I like being kind of out in the middle of nowhere.
Okay, thank you. So now we're kind of shifting gears a little bit back to your parents. How do you think your parents' careers shaped your experiences growing up in Nebraska? And you kind of explained how your mom shaped your experience. You can add more to that, or maybe you can talk about your father this time.
Well, I was raised in a Christian home, so my mom did a lot of instilling in me some very traditional Christian beliefs, which I am thankful that Nebraska is very strong in still. I think that's a good thing. I wish more states were like that. I think we'd see less problems if they were. And then my dad really influenced me in how to work hard, a good work ethic, and how to enjoy life, and just yeah, all the good things in life, and how to be successful.
Okay. Although Nebraska is relatively big, as you've mentioned, it's hard to travel anywhere, there are not a lot of people in Nebraska. Because of this, do you consider yourself a small town person, a rural person, or an urban person, or perhaps none?
A small town person, so I like being near a small town. Um, for those that live in New York City or St. Louis or whatever, it's Hastings, Nebraska. Probably isn't even considered a town. It's probably considered a village of 26,000 people. So I consider myself a small town slash rural person.
Perfect. Does the small town life have anything to do with who you are? Why or why not?
Yes, because I enjoy, like I said, the people, and I enjoy being around the people, but um, not a ton of people. So the small town life is nice because there are people, but they're all very nice to you. You know, no one treats you like dirt. No one treats you, no matter who you are, you're always given a smile and usually a wave. How you doing? And I think that is unique to this area of the country. I think if well, Omaha, Nebraska, for example, no one probably cares about who you are or how your day's going. So this area of the state, I appreciate the kindness of the people and yeah.
Okay. So, in what ways, if any, does the climate and geography of Nebraska influence your opinions and experiences in the state?
Well, I mean,
You talked about the geography, but what about the climate?
the weather. Well, I'd say, Nebraska has crazy weather, but every state's got crazy weather. I'll take tornadoes over earthquakes or fires any day. And yeah, our winters can be cold, but they're colder elsewhere. I think New York and I'm sure they get more snow, even though we get ice storms sometimes. It's just every place has got weird weather. So yeah, I think Nebraska is just as good as any other place, really.
Cool. What did you learn about Nebraska history growing up?
Just the basics.
Can you expand on that?
Just um, well, the point in time where Lewis and Clark, I guess, came across the area. Nebraska played an important role with the railroads. I know.
Pioneers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just the basic stuff. I mean, nothing too detailed or whatever.
How do you believe that this information shaped your understanding of the state, if at all?
Well, I wouldn't say at all. Every state has their history, so.
Yeah, okay. What does it mean to be a Nebraskan?
I think it means, and I think this has, again, is Nebraska has this in common with all the Midwestern states, the prairie states or whatever. Just down to earth people who, although Hollywood likes to call us the flyover country of a bunch of people living under rocks, I think it's actually quite the other way around. I think the people in the Midwest are very down to earth, real people, you know. I think that's different than those in Hollywood, in Silicon Valley, and New York City, where I think they actually do live under a rock. You know, they're so involved with their inner circle and and everything. Like, well, when I went to Pennsylvania, to give you an example, flew on a plane to go into Pennsylvania to Pittsburgh. Sat next to this girl who, just as I got to know her, said that she enjoys going to the Midwest for the few times that she has, just because of how open it is. Because she lived in the city, and she said sometimes she'll get up real early in the morning so she can go. Out into the countryside and actually watch the sunrise, which surprised me because I'm thinking I'll watch the sunrise anytime I want. All I have to do is look out the window.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that relates to people in the city being under a rock, but I think in a way, you know, they're trapped in their city because of how many people are there. And I think they're trapped in more ways than one, not just physically. I think mentally, the way they think, how they get their information, and just kind of all aspects of life. I think the people on the coast can be very isolated. Whereas in the Midwest, even though geographically, yeah, you'd think that we are isolated. I think it's, again, down to earth people, real life. You know, so.
Perfect. That was a good answer.
Good, thanks.
Okay, to counter that, how do you think outsiders, maybe those from the coast, view Nebraskans and Nebraska?
Well, like I said, a lot of people think that we're just flyover country with a bunch of hillbilly rednecks that don't know anything. Go to work in the field. But, you know, I think that's just the snobby people on the coast that think that. I think if you talk to others, you know, with a few conversations I've had with foreign exchange students or people from outside the country, they always say the same thing. They always say, yeah, New York City was great or St. Louis was great when we visited it, but I really enjoy being here because everyone is so nice. It's a simple way of life, but it's also a very real way of life. It's straightforward. So I think people view it as the good life.
Okay.
And in all ways, really. I mean, think about it. I mean, to buy a piece of land and a house is really fairly cheap in Nebraska. You can make a really good living for the amount of money that you have in Nebraska.
Okay. Do older friends, family members, or acquaintances view Nebraska differently than yourself? If so, why do you think that is?
No, I think we're all pretty much the same.
Okay. How do you view the politics in the state?
Well, at the time, in 2018, Nebraska is still a red state. But, you know, and right now the politics are weird. It's kind of a political storm right now. I personally think that if you're looking at the country in terms of red and blue states, right now the red states seem to be the ones that are doing better. You know, like I said, New York City, New York, that's gonna be a blue state, and I don't know, the people are mean there. To put it bluntly, it just California's a blue state, and they're a mess right now. And I don't know if that's all due to politics because they're a blue state, they're a mess. No, I don't think that. But as far as politics go, again, even though Nebraska's a red state, I think they're doing well because they're a red state. Because they value real life experiences, the economy, the job, the simple way of life is obviously along the lines of conservative viewpoints. And again, I think Nebraska is doing really well because they are a red state. And on a personal note, everyone here is nice no matter who. Even if you're a Democrat in Nebraska, people are still nice, It just seems it's not a hostile place. And again, I think that's a misunderstanding. If you watch, if you're looking back on this recording from from a long time ago, you can look back at some of the video recordings as well of, the entertainment industry, the news industry. You don't have to watch for very long to see that most people in the news media entertainment industry think that the rural political red states of the Midwest are evil. They're behind the times. They are cruel to people who are not like them. That's what you would probably gather from watching those video clips. And that's not the case. I mean, again, people here, even if you disagree with them, they'll still talk to you. They'll still be your friend. They'll hang out with you still. And I think that is unique to the Midwest. I personally think that the closer you get to the coast, the more hostile they get, especially with politics. And again, it just seems twisted to me because, there are plenty of people around here still that I disagree with plenty about politics, but they're still my friends. So yeah, don't get me started on politics.
Actually, you answered some more questions as you went along, so that
Sweet.
worked out really well.
We could skip those then, right?
Oh no, I'm gonna have you reiterate it. Of course, we can skip those. Okay, Austin, did you attend college?
Yes.
Was it in Nebraska?
Yes.
And where did you attend college?
I went to Central Community College in Hastings for 2 years and got my associate's in arts degree, and then transferred to Hastings College and continued to get my bachelor's degree.
Perfect. And can you tell me what that was in?
Broadcasting.
Okay. And why did you decide to attend college at CCC and Hastings College?
Well, I chose for one, the two colleges being in the same town have a relationship with each other where you get a price break by attending both, by transferring. So that was an incentive. And then two, I saw a lot of value in CCC that I didn't see at Hastings College, and I wanted to experience that as well. It's a different atmosphere. And there are things that CCC provides that Hastings College doesn't. But I also saw some opportunities at Hastings College that I wanted to take advantage of as well, So that's why I kind of chose to do both.
And both colleges are close to your home right now.
Yeah.
Before, not your home in Hastings right now, but where your parents are.
Yeah.
Cool. Why did you or actually first before I do that, when did you graduate from Hastings College?
2016.
Perfect. And why did you stay in Nebraska after graduating?
Because there's really no other place I'd like to live. I'm perfectly happy right here, so I'm not one to venture out just to venture out. If I'm leaving, the people that I know, the place that I know, and the opportunities here, it will be a very good reason. So that reason has yet to appear. So as far as I'm concerned, I will stay where I'm at.
Okay. All right, based on your answer, what does Nebraska have to offer young people?
Nebraska. Well, for one, like financially or economically, a good living. Like I mentioned before, the amount of money that you would have to pay to own a home and to own land would probably barely get you a decent apartment in San Francisco or whatever. So there's plenty for Nebraska to offer. I mean, the people are more personal here. The job you get here, you aren't treated like a number. You're a real person in Nebraska, and there are, as far as jobs, there are plenty of opportunities um, that pay very good money. So I think that there are just as many good opportunities here in Nebraska as anywhere else.
Cool. And I guess to counter that, why do you think young people are leaving Nebraska?
Well, I personally, well, I'm not blaming anybody, but I would say the reason why young people, if the studies show that they are leaving Nebraska, I would say a big reason would be, well, it's not all young people either. It's college graduates that are leaving Nebraska. And so I think the college plays a pretty big role in that. I would venture to guess, and I don't have the numbers on this, but I would venture to guess through personal experience that the college graduates from CCC or local colleges don't leave the state. And if they do, they're sticking around the Midwest. Whereas, out of personal experience, I do know that college graduates from Hastings College leave immediately. So I think the way the colleges are preparing young people, some are preparing them for broader opportunities that do apply to Nebraska, and some are preparing them for opportunities that only exist elsewhere on the coast. If you want an example, Hastings College glass blowing. At the time, right now, the Jackson Dinsdale Art Center is one of the finest art centers in the area. One of the finest, if not the finest, glass blowing studio in the United States. Which is awesome. I mean, I think that's really cool, and it is an amazing building, but what kind of job can you get with glass blowing? You know? That would just be an example of them preparing students, glass blowing students, for jobs that will be hard to come by anywhere except the coasts. A good paying job. And that's just an example. And that's not all students either. There are, Hastings College, I'm a graduate and I stuck around. So obviously they prepared me well enough to find a job here. But I think there is an agenda a little bit to push students immediately either into grad school or a certain set of jobs. And of course, with grad school, that's more than likely out of state. So that would be my reasoning. It's not because of the people, it's not because of the jobs, it's not because of the location, it's because of the education they're getting.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, Austin, what are your plans for the future?
To stay in Nebraska. No, it is to say Nebraska. To continue at my job, to advance in my job, find a new job, or continue to work and mold myself and do things that I enjoy and switch things up a bit here and there to find a house, have a family, and just live the good life and enjoy it. Be able to be free and do what I want to do. That's my plan.
A good plan. So just want to go back to something you said earlier as far as the college preparing you for the future and you were able to find a job in Hastings. Did you think you were going to be able to find a job in Hastings with your degree?
No.
Why is that?
Well, because broadcasting or video marketing it's more. There are more companies that have that kind of job description in Lincoln or Omaha or out of state again. But I was lucky enough to find a very good marketing firm here in Hastings that hired me on.
Yeah. And can you tell me who the boss is?
The boss is Blake Peshek.
And he's originally from Hastings?
Yeah.
And who are your coworkers?
Derek and Noah.
Are they from Hastings originally?
Grand Island and Holdridge.
Okay. Well, Austin, I don't have any other questions unless you wanted to go back to another question that I asked, or perhaps you have something that you want to add that was never asked.
Go Big Red. No, I'm done now.
All right. Thank you, Austin.